Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Butthole, where we get to be judge, jury and executioner. So I hope you've all got your curly white wigs on because it's time that we're gonna judge. Are these people the buttholes or are the buttholes the other people in the stories? Let's have a peek. If you enjoy watching my content, then please consider throwing me a few pennies down at my Ko-fi down below. Currently, I am just making these in my back room, and I'm making absolutely no money from this whatsoever. So if you would like to just buy me a coffee, you can throw me as little as £3 down below. If not, thanks for just enjoying my content, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Am I the butthole for not telling my girlfriend I speak Russian, her native language? My girlfriend is from Russia, and I self-taught myself Russian, and I later lived in Ukraine for a bit, so I basically speak almost perfect Russian. I started dating Diana 4 weeks ago. The relationship was pretty good and I never felt the need to speak to her in Russian as her English is good, and I figured that if she doesn't know I know Russian, perhaps I can see if she's actually loyal or if she'll talk crap about me, etc. We broke up when I found out she was cheating on me. I found out when she was at my place talking on the phone to a friend, and she explained how she fricked another guy twice when I was gone and she was lonely, and how she feels she made a mistake. I said in Russian, "You're damn right, you made a mistake and you can get out of my apartment now." She's completely shocked and is asking me how I know Russian, and what the frick. She's cursing me out, saying I'm such a butthole for violating her privacy by not telling her I know Russian and being able to understand her private conversations. I told her she has to leave or she'll be forcibly removed. I got a barrage of texts and calls from other mutual friends saying how I'm such a butthole for not telling her I speak Russian, and how much personal crap I've overheard. I told them they're a bunch of stupid C's for thinking I'm the bad one in the relationship when she cheated on me, and that fact proves I was right not to tell her I speak Russian to find this out. Oh man, everyone sucks here. That's all that I have to say. They definitely all suck, but for different reasons. So, the fact that he actually did manage to to catch her cheating with this little trick of not letting her know that he knew her language definitely didn't excuse the fact that he didn't tell her in the first place. Now, if you follow me regularly, then you'll know this, but if you're new here, then you won't. My background is in languages. I'm a polyglot, and I absolutely love everything to do with language, linguistics, and communication. So, there have been a few times where I have spoken somebody's native language, but I haven't told them that I spoke their native language. But we were never dating, you know? It was always just, because it's just a passing acquaintanceship or something like that. Or, I overhear them, nearby, talking to someone before they then turn to me and speak in English, whatever event I'm at, and, I'm not gonna suddenly go, "Ha, you know what I speak, friendo," otherwise you just look like you're showing off. However, if you are in an intimate relationship, dating somebody for, this has been 4 weeks, so it's very, very, very early days for them. But he already went into this relationship with a suspicious mind, right? He straight up was like, I'm not going to tell her that I speak Russian, just in case I hear her cheating on me. Or I overhear a conversation where she's doing XYZ. Which just shows that you're kind of the intention was to spy on her, That's the problem. That, there was immediate distrust, and hey, it was founded, yeah, she cheated, but that didn't mean that the sneaky behaviour in the first place was okay. And I mean, she sucks because she cheated, that's it. We don't need to go further into her behaviour. She cheated, that's wrong. However, let's say that it was something like, am I the butthole for not telling my partner that every single text they send, I've installed a software so that it sends me a copy as well? What if it was something like that? Because at the end of the day, it's all about eavesdropping where they're unaware that you're eavesdropping. If it was just that it just happened to not come up in conversation at that point, then yeah, I could definitely forgive him. But he deliberately didn't tell her because he wanted to spy on her. That's the freaking issue. And if they have such little trust between each other, first of all, I think he needs to work on his trust issues before he ends up in a relationship with anyone, because that's seriously sketchy behaviour. And also, she needs to work on, does she really want to be in a monogamous relationship if she doesn't think that she can stay faithful? You know, but everyone sucks. Let's face it, everyone just freaking sucks here. It's all terrible. Because even with the spying, even if you're saying, oh, but he was only doing it just in case she was cheating, and she was cheating, so that's fine. What if it was like a medical condition or something very personal to do with her family that she was talking to her mother about? Either way, spying's never okay. And it just freaking breaks trust in the relationship completely. That's just cheating, so, I mean, what can you say? This was a relationship doomed to fail. Am I the butthole for causing a scene at my grandfather's funeral? For background, I'm 21 female and my sibling is 23 non-binary. They are androgynous in appearance and have rainbow-dyed hair. Neither of us get along with my dad's side of the family because they are very religious and can be rude and downright homo/transphobic. My grandma uses horrible slurs casually and I've had almost no contact with that side of my family in 2 years. Both my sibling and I are atheists. My grandpa died earlier this week, and his funeral was today. It was at this church my cousin is a part of, and trust me, it is weird. Like, lizard people run the government, and the 5G gives you the plague kind of weird. My contribution to the funeral was buying and supplying all the foods and drinks, plates, cups, etc. for my family. When my sibling walked in, I saw the pastor stare at them, and the pastor eventually walked up to us and asked how we knew the deceased. I said we were his grandchildren. He then asked, "Are you a frigate?" except he used a homophobic slur, which I'm not going to read aloud. I know he directed it at my sibling, but I also know how sensitive my sibling is to homophobia, so I responded with, "If you mean gay, yes, I am gay." He then asked us both to leave. At this point, everyone was watching us and my sibling was tearing up. I'm super protective of them. I told the pastor that this was a celebration for my grandfather that I had helped arrange and I would not be leaving because it was my right to be here. He had a long speech about how he wouldn't have any frigates pushing their agenda at his house of God. My grandma said, "Maybe it's best if you leave," across the room. When she said that, I said, "Fine, we'll go." So my siblings started to cry and got up to leave, but before they did, I got them to help me carry all the food, sandwiches, wraps, veggies, drinks, desserts that I had brought back to my car. My whole family just watched us silently. I don't know what happened after that, but we took a bunch of the food to our neighbour's house and had sort of a picnic with them. My mum and dad were absolutely furious after. They said we should not have made a scene because it was for my grandpa and not about us. I had already paid my respects and said my goodbyes to grandpa when I saw him in the hospital before he died, and so had my sibling. We were only at the church because it was polite to attend. My grandma is a narcissist and has lately been thriving on all the attention her husband's death has given her. She wore an elaborate ball gown style dress to the funeral like she was going to prom. So I'm sure she's loving all the attention that my family is giving her since queers stole the food at her funeral. At the funeral. Not at her funeral, that'd be a different situation. So, am I the butthole for causing a scene at the funeral and taking back all the food I brought? P.S. Everyone, except for the pastor, wore masks and was social distance. The funeral was invite only because of a limit to the amount of people we could accommodate safely. And I would like to thank everyone for their kind words and support. I'm so sorry I'm struggling to reply to all of you, but I want you to know that what you've said is so much appreciated. Those saying this story is fake made me laugh because when you've lived in my family long enough, you forget how truly ridiculous it is to others. And the criticism I accept wholeheartedly. I know that what was said by my family may have been because of their own grief, and I hope someday we can at least tolerate each other at holidays. Thank you so much, and please love your family members while you still can. Talking about this made me realise how much my anger towards my family prevented me from truly grieving my grandfather, who always accepted myself and my sibling. There was so much about this story that was so freaking sad, but as you can probably guess, absolutely not. There is no way in any case that this person or their sibling was the butthole. Absolutely not at all. The butthole in this situation clearly is the pastor. Now, these are two siblings who have just lost their grandfather. Now, the fact that they look androgynous, have dyed hair, because there is no LGBT plus look, okay? Some people come out like me with, freaking badges, trans prides, my pronouns are he, him, love me, love myself, blah, 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 blah. Some of us just, come out like, hello, but, you can't always tell. And the thing is that there are loads of people who may have loads of rainbows and stuff like that and look very queer, but be an ally and just be like, you know what, I love having dyed hair and I have this rainbow badge because I support the gay community. Now, of course, the pastor didn't, just saw them as frigates. That's the word that I'm going to use because I don't feel comfortable saying the other word. And of course, I mean, it's so much harder for non-binary people as well because they are just, so misunderstood and so unaccepted for, literally doing nothing other than just being themselves. And that was all that happened. That was all that they did, because the pastor directed his anger towards the sibling, right? So all they did was turn up to grieve their grandfather and cope with that, and they got attacked based on how they looked by a man that's supposed to be of God, which is just freaking ridiculous. The men that, claim to be talking for God seem to be the furthest thing from any kind of morality. Just going up to youth and screaming at them with these slurs when they are there to grieve their grandfather. Like, are you kidding me? That's just so freaking disgusting. And I am so proud that OP took the freaking food because there is absolutely no way that those bigots who are so heartless that they would turn against two people that are grieving deserve to have any kind of yummy snacks afterwards. I'm glad that they got to have all the yummy snacks with their neighbour, and I hope that that made them feel maybe slightly better after such a horrible situation. What's really sad about it all as well is the fact that this is supposed to be about the grandfather, absolutely, and the grandfather accepted them for who they are. So he would probably be incredibly upset at the fact that, two of his grandkids were unable to grieve him properly purely because of how bigoted the rest of the family were. I wouldn't blame them for just going completely no contact with the rest of their family. The two siblings, you two have got each other, and that's what matters the most. But yeah, absolutely no way should they feel guilty about taking away something that they bought from a place that they were told that they weren't welcome, when they definitely freaking should have been welcome. There's absolutely no reason that they shouldn't have been allowed there. The only reason that they were, told that they weren't allowed to freaking grieve, and even had those horrible little excuses like, oh, you were just there to be polite. No, there is a whole cultural ceremonial thing around it. It isn't just for freaking religious people. The way that they were treated just makes me so bloody angry. And, OP, if you're listening to this, thank you so much for supporting your non-binary sibling as well. I mean, I know that you love them, so obviously you're going to want to support them as much as you can. But, so many non-binary people don't get that support, and it's really great that they have you. Am I the butthole for screaming at a child in front of her parents? What do you think? I, 28 female, live with my sister, 37 female, and her husband, 37 male. And their daughter, my niece, 7 female. Because of the pandemic, I've been working from home for the last 6 months. The company I work for had to retrench a lot of employees during that span of time, and for those of us still here, we got rather large pay cuts. Given that there are fewer people in the company now, I'm probably doing the workload of around 3 people, so I'm constantly stressed and anxious. Ever since, my niece has been spoiled by her father and grandparents. She's the only grandkid on both sides and always gets her way. I find her quite entitled, to be honest, but hey, I'm not good with kids, and I don't know if all of them are like that nowadays. She would mindlessly play music or watch YouTube on full volume when I'm working or on meetings. Yes, I do have earphones. No, they don't cancel noise well, and I don't have the money to buy good noise-cancelling ones. I have made a little corner of our dining area into my office since my room is hella tiny. My niece chooses to stay here while making noise. Her parents don't seem to care, and most of the time I would have to bring my laptop to the kitchen or outside when I have online meetings. Now, today was rather a hectic day for me at work. I took a break to eat some dinner all together with my sister and her husband and realised my cat's food bowl was already empty. I usually fill this up every morning and after I eat my lunch and dinner. Since I didn't want to make my poor cat wait until after I was done eating to fill her food bowl, I asked my niece, she was the only one done eating at this point and was just on her phone, if she could grab the cat food from the kitchen and bring it to me. She didn't answer and went straight to the kitchen. She apparently just got herself a glass of water. I said, hey, I thought you were going to get the cat food. She then looked at me, shrugged her shoulders, and had a look on her face that said, gee, that's not my problem. I was so fed up, I stood up and before marching towards the kitchen to get the cat food myself, I shouted, "Didn't I tell you to get the cat food? You literally just shrugged your shoulders and think that's a decent answer? You think you're funny?" Please also note that I said this in our language, which sounds horrible when angry. Her parents looked at me in horror and stood up to bring my niece to their room. My sister was so angry at me and walked out. I don't think I'm the butthole, but I can't get the image of my angry sister's face out of my head. And I'm thinking if I am indeed the butthole. Am I? Edit. The house is owned by both me and my sister. It's under both our names since our parents bought it for us. So, it may not surprise all of you to know that I 100% believe that OP in this case was the butthole. Purely because the niece is 7. I mean, you can't just scream at a 7-year-old. Even if that 7-year-old is the biggest butthole in the world, right? The thing about being 7 is that you can't make those... You know, 7-year-olds are supposed to be selfish. You know, I mean, of course, there's definitely going to be a certain amount of empathy, you know, like if you give them sweets, they're more likely to share sweets with their friends. And that is great. That's part of human development. We learn to care about one another. But when it comes to just she's been annoying me by making noise, which, you know, is what kids freaking do while you're trying to work, that's more of a you need to talk to the parents kind of issue, you know? You need to say, look, this is becoming a real problem with me, you know, I've taken a pay cut, what can we do to make this work? Like, what is there a play area that she can go to for certain hours? You know. And even so, like, it's not like this is a unique situation. Suddenly working from home and having kids coming in, bothering you throughout all hours of the day is pretty much a situation that most people are in. It was actually quite funny. There was a news, I was going to say article, but it was, you know, a program where there was a doctor talking about how, you know, the plague has caused us to have our professional and personal lives suddenly, boom, whacked in together. But while she was giving this interview, her child actually came in and started asking questions. So it's so common, and you can't lose your temper at a child like that. I mean, we all have memories of an adult snapping at us and, you know, just crying because of it. Even now, I think back of it, and I think about my mum's angry face, and it makes me really sad. I mean, God, I mean, why would you scream at a 7-year-old like that? Like, she is really close to ruining her relationship with her niece as well. She's going to be like the cruel auntie if this continues. Also, with the whole spoiled thing, you have a house that you co-own with your sister. How are you not freaking spoiled as well? Seriously. And I did actually have a look through OP's post just to kind of get the vibe because of, like, the person, because it wasn't a throwaway, rather. You know, with Am I the Butthole, a lot of people make throwaways because they don't want to be like, hi, I did this really bad thing, you know? But from what I can see, this is somebody who is very rich. You know, she has a very lovely house. She's showing off earrings. And also her cat. She's constantly posting her cat, spoiling her cat, and complaining now that the 7-year-old didn't feed the cat. I'm sorry, but feeding the cat is your freaking responsibility. You shouldn't be putting caring for your pet on your 7-year-old niece's shoulders. I'm sorry, but you can't be mad at kids for acting like kids. It's what kids do. And yeah, this is clearly an issue, so it's something that really should have been brought up to the parents. I mean, yeah, and like I said, this whole thing about, oh, she gets everything she wants, she's spoiled. OP seems kind of spoiled to me as well. I mean, I've been in a similar situation, very, very kind of. My cousin is 8 years younger than me, and she was like the miracle baby for my aunt and uncle, and they definitely spoil her. And she's annoyed me. She's annoyed me quite a few times. Have I ever screamed at her? No, I freaking haven't, because even as a teenager, I knew that you do not scream at children. So I have no idea how, you know, OP was like, well, the look on my sister's face kind of made me think that I was a butthole, but I don't think I am, because, you know, this 7-year-old is annoying. Shut up, you can't treat children that way. You know, I mean, I understand snapping. Everyone snaps when they're frustrated, but it doesn't excuse emotional abuse against children, which is, you know, what this is, no matter how much you dress it up. And yeah, look after your own freaking cat. Don't, you know, expect children to do it, jeez. Well, that's it for this episode of r/Am I the Butthole? Were these people the buttholes? Did you agree with me? Did you agree with Reddit? Or do you think that there's more that we're not hearing? Let me know in the comments. And as I say at the end of every episode, if you enjoyed hearing from this subreddit or would like to hear from any other subreddit, then do let me know in the comments. And until then, I'll see you all next time.